trying to answer the question, what's real, is called the hard problem, because reality is a quantum mystery. And it includes things like dark matter and dark energy that nobody truly really understands. So reality might be a quantum mystery, but the mechanism that we use to perceive it, the brain and nervous system, is universal. And it operates in precisely the same way for everyone. Because of that, there's an invisible structure to the world that we perceive. This invisible structure is a richer, deeper, truer model of reality. So I want to share it with you, then show you how you can use it to take control of your thinking, connect your thoughts and feelings, and improve the quality of your life. I'm Dr. Douglas Thompson. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist, a professor of psychology, and the author of a book about mental health. I'm also a Vietnam vet diagnosed with complex PTSD. That means that I'm a psychologist diagnosed with a mental illness. I believe that that gives me a unique perspective on mental health. And what I'd like to do is share my insights with you about mental health here today. The primary function of the brain and nervous system is actually to protect us from being overwhelmed and confused with too much information, most of which is irrelevant and useless. Our five senses function as five tiny windows that we use to perceive reality. But these windows only allow us to perceive a small part of reality. The largest window is vision, but this window only allows us to see less than 1% of the light in the electromagnetic spectrum of light. There's ultraviolet and infrared light. The second largest window is sound or hearing, but we only hear a range of sounds from 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. Otherwise, we might hear things like the random collision of molecules. In order to survive, our experiences have to be filtered through the reducing valve of the brain and nervous system, which constantly searches for patterns and ignores everything else. In this search for patterns, the nervous system filters utter chaos down to just three primary patterns of information. There's information from outside the body, there's information from inside the body, and there's information from inside your head. Like windmills that can convert motion or kinetic energy into electricity, the human nervous system can convert these three different patterns of information into a nervous impulse. When these nervous impulses carrying these three different patterns of information reach the brain organizes and processes this information into an invisible structure. Information from outside the body is converted into the world of facts. Information from inside the body is converted into a world of feelings, and information from inside your head is converted into the world of meanings. Each and every one of us is using this invisible structure to create our version of reality. But we're all doing this unconsciously, in the dark, you might say. I'm going to try to turn the light on for you by revealing the precise process that we use to construct our unique version of reality. For more than 100 years, we've been trying to answer this question. Which comes first, the thought or the feeling? Do I see the snake and think, holy shit, and then feel fear? Or do I see the snake, feel fear, and then think, holy shit? Both schools of thought have years and years of compelling research, together with the support of prestigious academic institutions to support their particular point of view. In essence, we've had a standoff. Then a discovery by a young female graduate student at Georgetown University started a scientific revolution. Candace Pert's discovery of hormone receptors on the outside of a cell demonstrated that at the cellular level, thoughts and feelings merge using a bidirectional biochemical code. That means that at the cellular level, a thought can trigger a feeling, and a feeling can trigger a thought, because it's a bidirectional biochemical code. Candace Pert's discovery demonstrated that inside the cell, thoughts and feelings work together as two halves of one integrated system. There's no more mind-body duality. Descartes was wrong. We can't separate the mind from the body because inside the body, it's all chemistry, biochemistry. Candace Pert's discovery of these hormone receptors, together with how they actually work, revealed a previously unknown relationship between our thoughts and our feelings. When you change the meaning that you've given to an experience, your chemical brain actually alters the structure and organization of your physical brain. And the net effect of this reorganization is you will also change the way you feel about that experience. Changing meanings, which is a mental phenomenon, changes feelings, which is a sensory experience. It's mind over matter, and it's biochemical magic. The first part of this biochemical magic is information coming from outside the body. This is the world that we can see, hear, taste, touch, and smell with our five senses. It's also the world of science and the facts, and it's also the reality that most people think of when they think of reality. Scientists claim that anything that can't be measured doesn't exist. But just because we don't have the means or the methods to measure something doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Thoughts have zero volume and no position, so they can't be measured. But no sane person would deny that thoughts are real and a part of our reality. We've become so focused, almost fixated on looking outward and studying outer space and objective reality that we've neglected that 3-pound universe and that space between our ears. That brings us to the second part of our reality. This is the intangible world of thoughts and feelings. The best way to understand your thoughts and feelings is to imagine a coin. A coin has two sides, has a head on one side and a tail on the other, but together they make up just one coin. Like the coin, our experiences have two parts, a thinking part and a feeling part, and together they make up just one experience. If, for example, we were to all take a roller coaster ride together, we would all take the same ride. That's a fact. But we won't all have the same experience. Some people are going to be scared to death. Others are going to be high on speed, literally. The adrenaline, released from the autonomic nervous system, creates the same physiological state inside the body for both fear and excitement. The only thing that differentiates your experience of fear from your experience of excitement is your subjective evaluation of the experience. In other words, your thinking. Question: how many thoughts do you think you have in a day? The answer? Somewhere between 40 and 80,000, most of them unconscious. The number of thoughts you have in a day isn't as important as understanding this. We think in repeating thought patterns. 90% of the thoughts you have today, you had yesterday. These repeating thought patterns describe why a paranoid schizophrenic doesn't go to bed one night, wake up the next morning, and forget to think like a paranoid schizophrenic. These repeating thought patterns are so robust and universal, I'm going to make a prediction. I'm going to predict that you and everybody who's watching this is going to have the same repeating thought patterns every day for the rest of their lives. And I know that because I'm going to have that same thought every day for the rest of my life. And that thought, what's for dinner? That brings us to our feelings. Feelings function as the motivators of our behavior. Everything you do is motivated by one of these 6 universal feelings: happiness, sadness, fear and anger, surprise, and disgust. Each one of these feelings has a corresponding facial expression that even babies recognize. That's why they're considered universal. All emotions are good because it's the emotions that connect the mind and the body. You need anger to define boundaries. You need grief to deal with loss. And then you need fear to protect yourself from danger. Pay attention to your subconscious messages because the body is the unconscious mind and it's using your emotions to communicate with you. Learn to experience all of your emotions. Let them flow, then let them go. Okay, that brings us to the third part of our reality. That's information coming from that universe inside your head, the one you spend about 90% of your time in, and the one that scientists can't find, together with the realization that we actually experience 3 realities simultaneously. We live in an objective world of facts, a subjective world of thoughts and feelings, and then a social world of other people. Everything we do and everything that happens to us happens within some setting, some context. also known as the Gestalt. We use this context to assign a meaning to our experiences. Our experiences have no meaning until we give them one. Assigning meaning to our experiences is how we make sense of our experiences. Assigning meaning to our experiences is how we create order from chaos. Then, we use these meanings to make our decisions and then help us navigate this social world that we co-create with other people. Understanding how and why you select the meanings for your experiences will, number one, expand your consciousness, number two, improve your relationships, and number three, help you on your journey of self-discovery. Here's the bottom line. The meanings that we select for our experiences function as a catalyst inside the cell that triggers and turns a thought into a feeling. If you change the meaning, you're changing the catalyst, and this new catalyst will trigger a different biochemical reaction inside the cell and result in a different feeling. You feel the way you feel because of the meaning you've given to your experience. If you change that meaning, you actually can change the feeling as well. It's mind over matter. My favorite example, or one of my favorite examples, comes from Virginia Satir. For those of you who don't know who she is, Virginia Satir was a guru and a superstar in the world of psychotherapy, and many people consider her to be the mother of family therapy. Virginia had a patient, a lady, who struggled with obsessive-compulsive behavior. She was a clean freak. Whenever she saw footprints on her carpet, she would get sick to her stomach, because to her, those footprints meant she was a terrible housewife. She would immediately grab the vacuum and vacuum the entire house. She might do this 3 to 7 times every day. So Virginia agreed to work with her to see if they could change the meaning of those footprints from terrible housewife to, she said, I want you to close your eyes and pretend there's not a single footprint in your house anywhere. And then realize that you're all alone and that those footprints represent all the people that you love and care about. So Virginia was able to work with this lady to change the meaning of those footprints from terrible housewife to representing the people that she loves and cares about. The secret to changing meanings is to get this new way of thinking, this new meaning, incorporated into your repeating thought patterns. And now, I'd like to show you how to do that. You know, the human brain is incredible. It's the most complex structure in the universe. It's a self-organizing, self-regulating, electrically charged, 3-pound hunk of meat that can contemplate its own existence and alter its own states. Starts working the moment you wake up, doesn't stop until you get to work. That's a joke, because it never stops working. And that's the problem. If you don't figure out how to take control of your thinking, you suffer the consequences. You can learn to take control of your thinking by learning to ask the right questions, because the brain runs on questions. The question gives the brain direction, and the answers serve as feedback. So whenever there's a problem, just refer to this invisible structure, and then ask yourself these 3 critical questions. What are the facts? What am I feeling? What meaning have I given to this experience? Asking yourself those 3 questions will take control of your thinking and connect your thoughts and feelings, and it sounds like this. So, what are the facts? Well, there are footprints on my carpet. Okay, and you're feeling, you have 6, you need to pick one. I'm feeling disgusted, and that's because it means I'm a terrible housewife. My point here, of course, is it means whatever you say it means. We've all been warned at least 1,000 times that a critical part of our dental health is flossing after every meal. So if you haven't been flossing and you develop gum disease, you can't come crying to me, you were warned but you didn't listen. Those 3 critical questions are mental floss. And they're a critical part of your mental health because they're the antidote to all of the truth decay, misinformation, and disinformation we face on a daily basis. You need to be asking yourself those 3 critical questions whenever there's a problem. Otherwise, it's you that's slowly decaying, not your teeth and gums. Please consider this a warning. I can summarize our current approach to helping people with their mental health in just 3 words: diagnose, dose, and adios. You don't have to have a mental illness to be dysfunctional. Our mental health requires authenticity, and that translates to transparency. If you want to be mentally healthy, you have to be willing to share your truths with another person. Step 1, ask yourself those 3 critical questions. Step 2, answer those 3 critical questions, because the answers are your truths. After a couple of false starts, I discovered that my calling, my walk of life, is teaching. And as a teacher, I know that we can do better than treating symptoms and pushing pills. We can teach skills that change lives. And one of those life-changing skills is dialogue. You can only know me if I want you to know me. Dialogue is 2 people sharing their truths with no pretenses, defenses, or lies. Dialogue is both the ultimate skill and the greatest gift. Dialogue can overcome any conflict, build healthy relationships, and help you discover your bliss. Late in his life, Sigmund Freud wrote that dialogue was the talking cure. I would endorse that because every therapy session I ever had that was good revolved around dialogue. Dialogue requires 3 things. Honesty, that's you sharing what you know to be true with another person. Empathy, that's you sharing how you feel with another person. And intimacy, that's you sharing what something means to you with another person. Please don't be confused about this. Dialogue is not about finding someone to talk to. Dialogue is about finding the courage you need to be yourself and express yourself. The bad news, time flies. The good news, you're the pilot. If I haven't succeeded in turning that light on for you, even if it was just a little pilot light of an idea for you to explore, then I apologize. That little pilot light of an idea for you to explore is mental floss. And asking yourself those 3 critical questions will connect your conscious, rational brain with your unconscious, intuitive body. And the synergy that develops from that will convince you to feel and be real. And to be real and feel, because it's a bidirectional biochemical code. Descartes was wrong. It's not I think, therefore I am, but I feel, therefore I'm real. These are my truths, but you don't have to take my word for any of this. Everything can be verified quickly in your own experience. Please, the very next time you have a problem, reach for your mental floss and ask yourself these 3 critical questions. What are the facts? What am I feeling? What meaning have I given to this experience? And when you do, you will discover for yourself there's a question you can ask that will take control of your thinking and improve the quality of your life. What if I change the meaning? I want to thank you for sharing with me the 2 most valuable things you have to share, your time and your undivided attention. Thank you, and please don't forget to floss.